A strong theory would be that Cindercrest's victory against the royal army changes their entire ideology. Before the war, Cindercrest could justify their actions as protecting order, ending pirate instability, and bringing structure to the server. But after defeating the royal army, they suddenly become the strongest power in the overworld with almost nobody left capable of opposing them directly. That kind of victory creates a dangerous mindset. If conquest worked once, why stop? The theory is that Flame and the higher-ranking Cindercrest leaders begin viewing uncontrolled regions as threats to their new empire. The biggest remaining uncontrolled region would be the Nether, which is heavily influenced by Clown Pierce. Pierce represents everything Cindercrest hates: unpredictability, independence, fear-based influence, and freedom from centralized control. Even if Pierce never openly attacks them, his existence alone would challenge Cindercrest's authority. As long as players can escape into Nether territory, trade through hidden routes, or seek protection under Pierce, Cindercrest never truly rules the server. So the theory is that after tasting victory in the overworld, Cindercrest becomes expansionist. They convince themselves that controlling the Nether is necessary for peace, but in reality, they've become addicted to domination. This would also explain why they would underestimate Pierce. The royal army fought like an organized faction. Castles, alliances, armies, open battles. Pierce doesn't fight wars that way. The Nether is built for guerrilla warfare. Narrow tunnels, lava traps, hidden portals, isolated supply routes. Cindercrest's structured military tactics would become less effective there. Another part of the theory is that Flame's leadership slowly changes after the Civil War. Winning the overworld may convince him that he's the only person capable of maintaining order on the SMP. That mentality could evolve from "we need stability" into "everything must belong to us." That shift would create tension inside Cindercrest itself, because some members may realize they're no longer defending peace, they're building an empire. The reason this theory works well is because it naturally escalates the story. Royal Army War equals control of the overworld. Nether conflict equals control of fear and movement. Potential end conflict later equals control of resources and escape. Each dimension becomes a different stage of domination. The theory continues with Minute Tech finally realizing that Cindercrest's campaign against Clown Pierce is bigger than just another territorial war. At first, Minute stays neutral because the Nether conflict looks like Flame trying to eliminate a threat, and Pierce defending his territory. But then Cindercrest starts building permanent Nether infrastructure. Fortified portal checkpoints, controlled travel routes, Nether resource taxation, and military outposts near major pathways. That's when Minute understands the real danger. If Cindercrest controls the overworld and the Nether, then the end becomes trapped. The end depends on portal access and supply routes from the other dimensions. Once Cindercrest dominates both major dimensions, there would be nothing stopping them from restricting end access, controlling Elytras, monopolizing Shulker resources, or invading the end directly. Minute realizes this is no longer about Pierce surviving. It's about preventing total dimensional control. That's why this theory has Minute making an extremely rare decision. He chooses a side, not because he trusts Pierce, but because Pierce is the last major bastion of hope preventing Cindercrest from becoming unstoppable. The alliance works because both players specialize in completely different things. Pierce controls chaos and fear inside the Nether. Minute controls knowledge, strategy, and dimensional mechanics. Together, they could turn the Nether into a nightmare for Cindercrest forces. The theory suggests Minute would start helping Pierce by creating hidden portal reroutes, sabotaging Cindercrest travel systems, cutting off supply lines, and weaponizing the terrain itself. Cindercrest soldiers would enter portals expecting safe transport and emerge inside lava traps, isolated tunnels, or abandoned bastions filled with ambushes. Unlike the Royal Army, Minute wouldn't fight emotionally. He would fight logically, and logically, allowing Cindercrest to conquer the Nether guarantees the end becomes their next target. Another interesting part of the theory is that Minute may actually dislike Pierce personally, but sees him as necessary balance. In a strange way, Pierce becomes the firewall, protecting the server from complete domination. This creates a powerful contrast. Parrot fought Cindercrest because they threatened freedom. Pierce fights them because they threaten territory. Minute fights them because they threaten balance itself. The theory ends with the idea that Cindercrest eventually realizes too late that invading the Nether triggered something far worse than another war. Because once Minute joins the conflict, the battle stops being about armies. It becomes a battle over the dimensions themselves.